Shabbat Shalom. All right, well, as I learned when I was a bouncer in college, don't stand in between people and their a cappella groups. I thought that was really funny. Sorry. I told you it wasn't going to land. Okay. But, so in the interest of time, I want to share a few brief remarks, but we will get to Berkalit very, very quickly for the end of our service. But I wanted to just share a brief few minutes of Torah and start with something that I've been thinking about ever since it happened 6 or 7 months ago. I maybe even told this story already, but I can't stop thinking about it. I was months and months ago, I was in the parking lot over there of the Whole Foods, and you know in the downstairs part, there's like the first row is one way, but the other ones are not, and it's not entirely clear, and I went the wrong way, and there was someone coming the way they were supposed to go, and we had to do the awkward, like kind of move to the side so that we could get by each other, and as we did, I saw this person going to roll down their window, and I went to roll down my window like the good Midwesterner that I am to say, I'm so sorry, I'm really sorry, and as we rolled down our windows, they looked at me, and they shouted something that in the interest of Noah's ears, I am not going to repeat right now. And then we drove on, and I was shocked, and I was like, I'm so sorry, oh no, no. And then I thought to myself, I don't think this is about me. We're living today in a world where everyone is carrying around a lot of excess anger, a lot of excess angst, a lot of excess feelings about what's happening in our world, to our world, about our world, with our world, all of these things. And it doesn't look like it's letting up anytime soon. And I understand in that moment something that I see in the parsha that we read today, because what we read about is the blessings and these curses, right? And we get, as Elon read, just like 67 verses of curses of what's going to happen if someone doesn't do what they're not supposed to do. And I see the allure of living in that world where there are the blessed and the cursed. And heaven help you if you get on the wrong side. And it's black and it's white, and we all know who to be angry at, and we all know who are the good guys. It's quite an alluring world to live in. And as we all know, it could not be farther from the actual world that we live in. We don't live in a world where there are some people who are wholly blessed and some people who are wholly cursed. We don't live in a world where there are pure evil and pure good. We live in a world that is much more nuanced than that. And the hard thing for us to do in many of these moments is to find the ability to see blessing or do good. And the rabbis actually note that if you look at the curses and blessings side by side, there is a slight linguistic difference. Now it says of the, if you do good, it says, V'haya shamoa im tishma'u. Wait, let me get this right. Yeah, I got it. Im shamoa tishma'u, right? If you understand, listen, shema, if you do obey what God says, in this doubled language, shamoa tishma'u, just in case there's a quiz afterwards, is the infinitive absolute of the word shema, which means you really got to listen and understand. And then, 15 verses later, when it says, but if you don't listen, right, it just says, v'im lo tishma. But if you don't listen, then all these horrible things are going to happen. So, obeying God gets a doubled word, not obeying God gets less of a double word. And you're thinking to yourself, he said he was going to be brief, and I promise I will. Grammar is just quite important. So the rabbis say, what's the deal with that? Obviously, says Rashi, it's because it's easier to do the wrong thing than the right thing. And so God has to say, hey everybody, you really got to listen up when it's time to do the good things, and when it's time to talk about the bad things, like everyone's already listening to that and you only have to say it once. I think part of it, though, is it's also harder to do the good thing than it is to do the wrong thing. It's harder to see the good thing than it is to see the wrong thing. And we all have to find a way to do that. in all the different things that are happening in our world, we need to be able to look out and see some blessings in the world and also see some blessings or blessedness in other people. And it's really hard to do. That's why God has to say it twice, but it's important. And if you're wondering how, well, another medieval rabbi gives us a clue, because also in this parsha, 3 verses after what I'm talking about with our grammar, God says that you have to listen to me, you have to do good, and you have to walk in my ways. And so the rabbis say, well, what does it mean to walk in God's ways? How could I do that? And comes a medieval commentary, Hamek Davar, who says, what that means is people are going to not want to do the things the mitzvahs about other people, right? So we've got the mitzvahs about other people. That's like what? Give charity. That's like don't kill, don't steal. But it's also some of our ritual things because they're going to be so focused on the mitzvahs about God, right? That's the prayer stuff. That's the stuff that's just between you and God. God knows if you did it or not. That's it. And he says people are going to be striving to be holy so much that they're going to think that stopping to leave some of the sheaves of corn for the other people, that's a mitzvah from our parsha, that's like not really worth my time. I'm like meditating on a rock. I'm levitating here. That's what I'm supposed to be doing. Don't bother me with the sheaves of corn or the harvest for other people. That's not really the holiest of things. Comes this rabbi to say, you couldn't have it more wrong. The holiest things are the things we do for other people. And if we forget those, we can never achieve the holiness of God. We could never even hope to get there. We have to do this first. And so, as we go out into our world this week, I want us to think about the things we can do for other people. I think that's the key to thinking about this moment. Because there are people on this side, and there are people on that side, and there are people on this side who seem very angry and violent, and there are people on that side who seem very angry and violent. The thing that they have in common when things like this week happen is that they stop seeing humans, and they just see sides. That's when the really bad things happen. And so we need our mitzvot to remind us to see humans. Because, by the way, why is it that we leave those sheaves in the corner of the field instead of right, you could bring them straight to tzedakah or something. Why do we leave them in the corners? This is a little bit of an esoteric mitzvah. That's why I'm talking about it right now. So when you harvest your field, you're supposed to not do it in the most efficient way. If you drop a sheaf of wheat in the way, you just leave it there. You don't go back and get it. And you leave the edges of the field unharvested. Why? For whom? The poor. Well, why don't I just bring it to them? What am I thinking about? Yeah, go ahead. Please, let's talk for a second. Then I promise a cappella. I don't want to embarrass someone, right? If I walk into your house with a big bushel of sheaves, corn, whatever it is. I'm from Wisconsin, but the cities. Okay. If I walk in with a check, right, and I just hand it to you in front of everyone, that might be embarrassing to you. If I leave it on the side of my field so that you can come get it at night, when there are the people, right, I'm thinking about your honor. Even though I'm here to help you, I'm thinking about you as a human being, right? And that mitzvah is meant not only to inculcate charity in all of us, but also thinking about others as humans. And that's what we have to do. It's really hard sometimes. And we're all very tired, and we're all angry, and there's a lot going on, and there's lots of reasons to be angry, and there's lots of reasons to be tired, and we come by it honestly. And the only way out is to choose blessing. That's hard to do, but to choose to do the right and the good, even if it's just a little bit each day. Nechama Leibovich on this parsha, she ends looking at all the blessings and curses with a Mishnah that says, mitzvah goreret mitzvah, v'avera goreret avera. A mitzvah leads to another mitzvah, and a bad deed leads to another bad deed. Right? What's the best way to get good habits, said a teacher of mine once? Do them. Right? You do them a little bit at a day, and eventually you come to where we want to be. Mitzvah goreret mitzvah. So we see each other as humans, even just a little bit. Find someone that you know you disagree with and say, hey, how you doing this week? How's everything going? I'm a little scared. Are you scared? What are you scared about? I'm a little angry. Are you angry? What are you angry about? Find someone you agree with but you don't talk about things with and say, hey, how are you doing? We haven't checked in a while. See each other as humans. Remember to think about each other as humans, and a little bit by little bit, we'll bring blessing into our world. Shabbat shalom, friends.